Today I fucked up by being a creepy weirdo and not thinking before I speak. This actually happened several years ago, but it still makes my cheeks flush when I think about it. I was meeting my then boyfriend's extended family for the first time, and a cousin of his had recently had a baby. I was holding her precious little one when I said, in a baby talk voice, to the baby, "I haven't held a live baby in years." It got really quiet and I know I looked as wide-eyed and startled as everyone else did. She promptly took her baby back and moved to the other sofa where the conversation continued before I could clarify anything. I'm a histology tech and handle the pediatric side, so I very often deal with miscarried fetuses, stillbirths and, less frequently, infants and young children who pass from medical conditions. Too long didn't read. Despite it being true, I messed up by telling a live baby that I don't usually hold live babies. This is the best story. I totally understand it, and if I had a baby, that I know of, I'd likely let you hold it. But this still made me laugh. Haha, I'm glad my embarrassment sparked joy. Did the mother know about your profession? No, not at all. I'd never met her or most of those family members before. And if my job ever does come up, I usually just say I work in a lab. Definitely don't go around telling people I do fetal autopsies. That's a big yikes. Whiff. Nothing like that live baby smell. Do love me some live baby smell. I would have passed it off like, usually it's my little cousin handing me a doll. Like you mean real, but said it weird lol. That is way more suave than I could ever be when that mortified. Today I fucked up by breaking a girl's faith. Not today, but about a year or so ago. I, 21F, was a youth leader at a Mennonite church. I myself am not Mennonite, but I can accept and respect most of their beliefs. The one core value I did not believe was being against violence in every scenario. Sure, I am against starting meaningless wars and would never try violence as a first option, but I think force is sometimes needed to solve a bad situation. They would rather let themselves be hurt and killed than throw a punch. So I was talking to this young 11-year-old girl, and she was nearly having a panic attack because what if someone broke into the church and tried to kill them? She was not ready to die but couldn't fight. So I, in my infinite wisdom, told her that I have never heard of a church shooter in our area, but if one came into our church I would do my very best to protect her and the other youth. I would rather fight and die than stand by and let anyone hurt her. My leaders at my Baptist church told me this when I was little and afraid of someone hurting me. I thought this was a good answer. I was wrong. Now this girl is crying because violence is one of the most horrible sins. I would commit a terribly crime against God to save her. What if it happened and I went to hell? She was then crying that she did not want to be THR reason I was damned to hell, while the other leaders were trying to convince me it would be okay to let a shooter shoot us all for God. Probably should have just stopped at never having heard of a church shooter in our area. Too long didn't read. I told the panicking youth I would fight to protect her if someone attacked us or we were in danger. She broke down because violence is a sin and she didn't want me to go to hell because of her. Shouldn't the church be teaching them to run the fuck away if someone comes to kill them? It's the best reaction to that situation where possible, and is how early believers survived intolerance. It's purely pragmatic. Shouldn't the church just not put people in the situation of thinking they will go to hell just for protecting themselves? I'm an atheist, and I think it's okay for church to be against violence but not to make people fear for going to hell. Wait, why/how were you a youth leader at a church you don't belong to? Basically what has been said. Many churches do not care your exact denomination so long as it is some form of Christianity. Ain't that a kick in the head? Like a fella once said. You could have justified it by saying that when you try to protect someone by hurting another whose intent is to harm others, it's forgivable, and in this scenario, it definitely applies. That was my thinking. Their line of thought was just so different from mine though. So do they just leave out when God said for people to be killed? Or wars, killings in the Bible? I'm being dead serious. Is it the same books as other denominations besides the obvious Catholic Bible? Also, are they like the Black Cap Mennonites? As someone that went to a Christian high school, I'm just very confused by this. Also I served in the military. Guess I'm going to hell in a handbasket. They justify it as humans writing in their own sinfulness and God having to try to redeem a bad situation or use metaphors they would understand. Honestly, a lot of loops to jump through to make it work. I am also confused by it, and thank you for your service. Today I fucked up by outing myself as an aspiring sex offender. Today I had a phone interview about a job I've recently applied for. It wasn't so much an interview as much as it was just a quick talk about my experience and some admin. So I'm blasting through these questions and he asks me about customer service experience, and I admit that I haven't got too much, but I used to work in a cafe and explained a bit about that. He said, have you ever dealt with customers over the phone, or haven't you had to do that yet? I replied something like, oh no, I've never had to do that, but it shouldn't be an issue for me. In my head I was just thinking to myself, the words not yet would have probably done the job there. Meanwhile he's already asking the next question. Are you a registered sex offender? My thoughts about my last answer must have stuck in my head cause I said no, not yet. TL, Dr. Interviewer, are you a sex offender? Me, not yet. Let us know if you get the job, haha. Interviewer, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Peter, thinking, don't say doing your wife, don't say doing your wife. Peter, doing your son? You might get lucky. He may assume you're just a smartass. I think it caught him off guard as he just said, well that's a good start, laughed and moved on. Makes it sound like you're announcing you're a sex offender yet to be caught. My lips are sealed and my jaw clenched. It's okay lol. People get nervous and mess up in interviews all the time. I think he understood, hence the laugh. So you should be fine. Deleted.